No means no as far as like sex goes, but no also means no in Spanish. They don't have one for no. They took a page out of our book, or maybe their book, the old Motherland. That's what I'd want a comedy club called, the Motherland.
Just a lot to make it through the day, but I burn my time and watch it fade away. The sky turns up, the light just goes opaque. A garden grows in time and what the other.
Welcome back to Afternoon Glory. Welcome to Afternoon Glory. If this is your first episode ever, boy, I hope it is, because we got a doozy for you. I'm Joshua M. Glore. A lot of people ask. My social media handle is Josh M. Glore, and they say, what the hell does the M stand for? And I say, well, I took a page out of Shane Gillis's social media handle, as well as Phil Hanley's social media handle. All the great comics will have M, whether it's their middle name or not. No, I'm kidding. It's just a coincidence. The M in my name stands for Mas, Joshua Mas Glore. My mom had a Spanish phase. Obviously, this joke isn't chronologically correct, but my mom was really feeling herself after 2 months of the Babbel app. She got cocky. No, I'm kidding. They said it wasn't chronological. My mother, she's always viewed me as a prophecy. She said, Josh, you need to fulfill the Glore name. We need Mas. We need Mas Glore. I had made the decision. I don't know why I was thinking about it so hard. Ever since I've been in high school, or ever since I was in I'm still in high school. I'm 28 this year, still chipping away at that diploma. I'm having too much fun. I'm 28 years old, still chipping away at the diploma. That first semester freshman English course, that credit is killing me. It's going to be the death of me. Hopefully by 30. She wanted Mas Glore. I had made the decision as early as high school. It's like I don't care. Just to get my mom off the edge of the couch. She's never put pressure on me to continue the family name. I made that decision on my own. I said I'm not fucking doing that. I made it as early on as high school. I was like, that's silly. And also, you look at the Glore lineage. I honestly couldn't tell you who's the greatest one. I don't know. That's just our family or our family name is cursed. We're not those type of people. I think a lot of Glore it has been just good old Midwest. I lived my life. I lived the average life, just day by day, did my thing, provided for family, and that's it. And that's how a lot of lives are. But I said no Mas Glore, but I never felt like going through the courts and legally changing it to add a no. No means no as far as like sex goes, but no also means no in Spanish. They don't have one for no. They took a page out of our book, or maybe their book, the old Motherland. That's what I'd want a comedy club called, the Motherland. I was just walking around Chicago like a lunatic. Not that I just walk. I think it's mainly to keep myself entertained, and if I have the urge to drink, which I'm on a sober kick right now, because I was fresh on a 19-day bender. I don't know my future in Chicago, and I was like, well, I might as well. I do want to stay here, and I'm not gonna let drinking and going out have a hand at play. So I was like, I needed to be sober for some shit I'm dealing with. I keep saying that. I'll just say it. I need to be sober. Going through a breakup, and I just need to process that the normal way, not with a fucking disease that makes you want to drink. So I was walking around Chicago, and I was like, damn, it'd be awesome if I was 28 years old this year and I had a sick comedy club. That's the lunatic part. That not the walking around Chicago. That's not far north side Chicago. There still is wrong place, wrong time, of course. I just walk and keep and daydream, I guess. But back to my thing. No Mas Glore. And so my mom said, Drats, I'm gonna have a daughter, and she'll carry on the family name. Hate to break it to you, Ma. It's only half the family name when it's the old daughter. No, my mom does not give a shit. My mom would probably be like, she supports every decision. I could literally try heroin and just try it. My mom would be like, yeah, okay. She'd probably be a little upset if I tried heroin, but it's, I don't know. I don't think she'd give me the cold shoulder. You wouldn't give me the cold shoulder, Mom. So anyways, family name's going to be carried on, presumably. And so, yes, I said no, Mas Glor, but never got around to changing it. No means no in Spanish. Spanish got it from the motherland. I want to open up a comedy club. I said Motherland. That sounds like a good comedy club name. Sounds also like I'm ripping off a very, very famous, quickly renowned comedy club, Southwest America. It's at the tip of my tongue. Yeah, you know what? It's not important. I actually I got such a nasty habit of doing this. I already recorded episode 8. I was real bummed. I'll probably be just as bummed with the scenario. Like, I was like, I didn't make it fun enough. I'll probably be feeling that way. But also, to make it more sad, I had no call or text with the podcast number. I was real bummed about that. I was like, we'll get it again next week. And then suddenly, I get another text. I'm like, oh, wow, that's amazing. It was a repeat texter. Thank you. And then I think we got our first call. I'll do that at the end after I read the text, because the texts are easier. And then I got before I even started recording tonight, very good question. And then I had one that wasn't so much a question, but I did say text anything you want. And it's so easy, guys. Once you text it, I can't emphasize enough how easy it is to, if you see me posting it, not to side-eye it and show some sort of support, because I try to support as much as I can locally and through my friends. Maybe in the back of my head I did have a scratch your back out and you can scratch mine, but I do support it. I do think I have thoughts, concrete thoughts. I have feedback. Maybe I need to be more diligent in delivering that feedback. So I'm sorry. Lesson learned. Okay. But it's so easy to just copy and paste that number, or go to type new message, new number, or go to your keypad and then swipe out of the app 719, swipe back into the app 507, swipe out 507, swipe back into wherever you see it, and then 2006. So easy. And then once it's in your threads, so easy. If I was on the other end of this, I would be texting nonsense, and I would be showing support. So I'm just saying, please blow that number up. I'm tired of doing here's a scenario. I will do it till the end, but I'm tired of doing it, and then I feel like, oh, well, I didn't really make that funny. And then I get in my head, I'm like, well, if I can't make that funny, should I even be a comedian? I don't know. I really don't know. It's going to be a crazy Tuesday night. Got the Sprite. I got all bubblied out. Been carrying my groceries or riding public transportation. Pain in the ass. I'll never get bubbly because they got a 3 for like 12 deal, or 3 for 10, or whatever the fuck it is. I will never get bubbly and groceries at the same time if I'm doing public transit. That decision was made via hard fucking way, and then solidified by no fucking way am I ever doing that again. Alrighty. So we got 10 minutes or so of bullshit out of the way. Hope everyone had a good St. Patrick's Day. When I first moved here, I was really looking forward to that, especially celebrating in Chicago. Well, I don't have very many friends here, as you can see. Also, even if I did have friends, I'd prefer to do a solo podcast, so that says a lot right there. And then recently, I'm just solo now, as I alluded to earlier. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pick up 2 more shifts. Already worked 2, so now I did 2 doubles. It fucking sucked. Also, I got on the sober thing, so it's like, would that be triggering? I don't know. Crowded. The Facebook event page said 30,000 people were going, and that's people that were kind enough to say, yeah, I'll take time and say yes. So it was just, fuck no. Yeah, next year, the goal is to stay in Chicago. If I achieve that in the next few months financially, we will go twice as hard as St. Patrick's Day. And if I'm still sober leading up to it, that is a good enough reason to break it. I don't know. I imagine it's going to get broken this summer. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. One day at a time, right? So I hope everyone had a good St. Patrick's Day. I was working at a not even close to St. Patrick's-esque restaurant, so you can imagine how much fucking money I didn't make. That's fine. That's fine. Let's just hop right into here's the scenario, guys. I don't know how this wasn't episode number 1. I'm very infatuated. Love to joke about it, and yet I'm very sincere about the whole ordeal. So yeah, I figured this week we go ahead and get lost in the weeds of getting an abortion. Now, very hard to say as a solo dude. Also very hard to say as I guess we're just throwing away Supreme Court rulings that stood tall for a few decades. Yeah, and I get there's the argument. It's just not federal. It's state by state. See, this is why I re-recorded, is because I was getting a little too emotionally invested in it and emotionally exhausted, or just I don't know. I'm not gonna do that. Who gives a shit? Let's just get rid of it. Let's get one town in America. It'd be ironic if it was Washington, D.C. We need one neutral-ish town. Let's find the most neutral city in America, and let's build a state-of-the-art abortion clinic. Let us forget Roe v. Wade, and it's like if you want a good hair transplant, you got to go to fucking Turkey. Let's do something like that. Let's just get rid of, like, every state that's still near total, or far and clear from near total ban. Let's just get it to total ban, and for the states that are near total ban, let's total ban. We'll open up one city, one very neutral city, like one where you say abortion to any member of the town, and they just kind of shrug their shoulders and say abortion. Yeah, I don't give a shit. Or I guess I don't know anything about it. It's a fucking procedure. If you don't want a kid, but if you do want a kid, you don't get one. Abortion. That's a thing that it happens. And then, so let's do that. Let's go ahead and ban it in every single state minus this one town with a state-of-the-art facility, an AI. You know, how come nobody's ever asking that? I don't know if this is the right word. Is abortionist, an abortion doctor, abortion specialist? What is that? Somebody who performs abortion, what's the correct term? Go ahead and put it in the comments. Again, that's when you get the right. You're like, murderer. Go ahead and put it in the comments. It can be a fancy word. I'll believe it. I don't do any research. But how come nobody's ever bringing that one up to people who perform abortions? You ever worried about AI? Oh boy. Now, if we're getting an abortion, obviously us men aren't going by ourselves. That's weird. I'm sure there's people in the world that think they might be, but it's going to be a hard pill to swallow when you got somebody on the other end of that reception desk saying, sir, we can't do this. So me personally, if I'm getting an abortion, I'd like to be there, because this is where I'm sensitive about. I get it can be a traumatic experience, whether, it fucking sucks. That's also, like, I imagine we're going half. Last time I did a stand-up, I had a new joke, probably been done before, parallel thinking, but I'll own it until somebody says, hey, check this out. Sounds a lot like your joke, doesn't it, pal? Had a joke, as like, I believe, or I think Planned Parenthood coined the phrase, split the check. So we're gonna assume, honestly, if you got a girl, if you're in a relationship with a girl, and one, she gets the abortion. I feel like I said that weird. One, she gets the abortion. Two, she's like, I got it. Marry that woman. I would. Those are two big green flags. Oh boy. If I could freeload, I would do it as much as I possibly could. It's usually a red flag though, so I try to pick up the slack. Also, I feel like abortions, like in the 2010s, late 2000s, I feel like it was I feel like it's the ballpark was $1,000. And then I feel like towards the end of the 2010s, it kind of dropped to a couple hundred. Again, no research. I wasn't actively researching this. I just felt like I would hear it discussed, or maybe on Reddit. Probably not on Reddit. Maybe I read it once. I don't know. I feel like there are a couple hundred, and now I feel like it's kind of in the middle. It's kind of like a few hundred. 500, 600. That's interesting. I don't know if that's inflation or what. But yeah, I feel like it's just, it varies. It's like stocks. You abort when the fetus is very small. Wait, what? I was gonna really try to make that work, but then I was thinking buy low, sell high. I don't have one off the top of my head. I'm sorry. I mean, I guess I could think for a second and cut it, make it look like I came up with it really quickly. It's not like stocks because you gotta buy low, and let's say buying in this situation sex unprotected, and then you gotta sell before it gets high. Only so many weeks. I don't know. So, and then also, I guess we already said, there's a bunch of states that are near total ban, so you can't get an abortion. If you lived in those states, you'd probably have to travel, which goes to my idea of let's get a very neutral place, one city or town in America, state-of-the-art facility. AI's doing the old sucking and scraping, that'll be awesome. Everyone has to go to Turkey for their hair transplant. Fucking, wouldn't it be funny? You see commercials like for Hims, and there's like a pill, and it just kind of chips away at the fetus. That's gonna be the future one day. If my politics have anything to do with the future of this country, that's for damn sure something I'm gonna get behind. Also, we need that neutral city. Keep going back to that neutral city. That's the answer to this. I came up. Usually I don't have an answer for it. I usually get lost in the weeds, but I have the answer, and it is neutral city, one city, every state's banned other than that city. Because then you got the protests. That's weird. I remember I used to live really close to a Planned Parenthood in Colorado Springs. One day I was driving. It was a weekday too, and I get that maybe it was a weekday during the school year, but I get that there's random days off. What's important is I saw nothing but children protesting abortion. I'm like, wow. I don't think I knew what abortion was until I at least had a 1 in front of my age, -1. So at least maybe I heard it for the first time 12, 13, 14. Somewhere for the first time. I feel like I didn't really understand what it was until I got into the old Toshmeister, and that was like 14, 15. Age, not year. So anyway, saw the protests, and they're all children. And obviously, kids, there's no latchkey kid who has a bunch of other friends who are latchkey kids, and they say, hey, we should go organize a protest outside of this Planned Parenthood on our day off from school, or we should have our parents not take us to school and organize a protest in front of a Planned Parenthood. But there are all these kids. I didn't see one single adult near them. God, who knows what would happen if there was a fucking pregnant lady making the hardest decision of her life, and kids, they don't know any better, and they just beat the shit out of her. And they're actually doing God's work in that way. My opinion of God's work, not a protester's opinion. Anyways, so the only reason I bring this up is because it's insane. Whether your opinion's left or right, politics are hardly innocent. And so you have this Planned Parenthood. It's right over here. It's kind of got its own parking lot. There's a throughway, and then there's like a strip mall, basically. And so the parents, I presume, are in the parking lot right across the throughway watching their kids protest. Or maybe, that's insane, but maybe it really was a bunch of latchkey kids doing God's work. The other opinion of God's work. So I don't know, man. That's just insane. You bet your goddamn ass my kids' first words, it ain't gonna be dada. It ain't gonna be mama. It's gonna be MAGA. And I'm gonna shove politics down my child's throat the moment they're able to speak and then sort of understand words. And then I'm gonna be a damn proud dad when my toddler, not my kid, but my toddler is out there doing God's work, protesting Planned Parenthood. That's the goal. All right. I've said it. Now it's time to manifest it, and that shall happen. But anyways, so the protest, that's always weird. That's very, I can't imagine already most traumatic decision that you're going to make. Although I applaud anybody that goes in there and they're like, it's Tuesday. That's also, I don't think it's really all that recommended for good health if you do want kids later on, but good for you. Good goddamn for you. If you're like, getting out of the car and you're like, it's Tuesday, let's do it, come on. Also, I was talking about green flags if the chick, okay, the 3 green flags in my abortion scenario. It's Tuesday, green flag number 1. Green flag number 2, what was green flag? Down for abortion. I guess that's supposed to technically be number 1. Number 2, shrugs his shoulder, just another Tuesday. Number 3, I got it, babe. How are you not? If that happened immediately after the procedure, we'd be going to the town hall and getting a goddamn marriage certificate. That's amazing. But it segues into my point. What I was really trying to bring up was the procedure. So I said I would be there. Ideally, whether it's like, oh my God, this is a mistake, let's get through this and we will go our separate ways, or whether it's with a partner, and obviously you got to be there. Ideally, my situation is like, oh, that was a tough day. I mean, it was tougher for her, but I kind of need a drink and I hang out with my friends. that's good, but I get it. That would happen if it was we both fucked up. We're both adults. We fucked up. Now let's get through this. And then I will check up on you every day until that fucking shit down there is good to go. I'll even wingman you when it is good to go. That's how much I respect your body and choice, and how much you're helping me out a lot. Drinks on me when you're all healed, and I will wingman you. I'm also going to get you a variety of condoms. I'll stop at condoms. I was going to say Plan B or morning after pill. No, that is Plan B. Plan B. But obviously, if you're in a relationship, no boys' night later that night. You gotta be there, comfort them. It truly is traumatic. Yeah, I guess that's really all I had to say about it. But if she's like, no, babe, go hang out with your friends, go to an open mic, do that, then the green flag number 4. I need little dings going off whenever I say green flag number 5. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's really it. I feel a lot better than the last episode. I got a little, I didn't go on any rant left or right. I wasn't as entertained as I was this time going around, so I feel good about that. I do want to give a shout out. He probably is never going to see this. That's fine. I bet if I told him I had a podcast, he would check it out. But I remember the first time I met him, we were talking about amateurs and podcasts. I'm like, yeah, who would fucking do that shit? That shit's for fucking pussies. I just want to shout out my barber, man. Although he did cancel on me, not cancel, rescheduled, and it affected a couple things both times. But it's all good. He works another job and he's cutting hair on the side. He doesn't have to do that. I did tell him though, that first haircut I got, I said, oh, if you get that full-time job doing something else, you might have to point me in the right direction of somebody that can cut hair like you. And he's like, nah, I got you. And he still has me. I get a text, I said, unfortunately, I'm flying solo these days, and at the beginning of it, I just didn't handle it as I should have. And now it's all no drinking. It's all kind of like, oh, damn, I could have gotten the first few weeks out of the way if I didn't drink for the first few weeks every single day. But I get a text, man, and he's like, how's it going, dude? Everything all good? I'm just checking up on you. I couldn't, just my heart dropped to the floor. That was so good and so nice. And and I understood boundaries. I wasn't like, oh, dude, we got to get a drink together or anything. But I was just like, appreciate you, man. I'm back on the wagon, so to speak, trying to stay in Chicago and get my shit figured out. And he just didn't have to do that. And conversation's always good when I'm there. And I did have a lot to fill him in on that last haircut. So shout out Jonathan, man. He fucking just a great dude. Fun to talk to. Sometimes I feel like I should be the barber and he should be the comedian. And he's a very funny guy, very naturally funny. Very, very outspoken as well. Good guy. I've already said this on this podcast, but not this hat, but I was wearing another Sox hat. And he's like, yo, you converted. And I was like, no, I'd just rather root for a team in my tax bracket. And I was like, also, black goes with everything. And then he just said, yeah, and the Cubs are gay. And funny guy. I would expect nothing less. Sox fans, that we need to be chanting that one at the next Crosstown Classic or Crosstown Cup, whatever the fuck it's called. And we'll chant that one at Wrigley. Well, we'll do it at Guaranteed Rate Field as well. Although I really don't give a shit about the Sox. Black just goes with everything. So yeah, shout out Jonathan. We got a lot of phone calls to get through, or text messages to get through, so I won't do a gripe of the week. Plus it has legs, but it's not quite there yet, and that's fine. We'll polish that up, as they say, and stand up. We'll get back to it. All right, this is our first repeat caller or texter. Caller sounds better. Afternoon Glory, spelled right. Sorry for the spelling error in the last message. I appreciate the call out. Won't happen again. First off, don't ever take anything I say with a grain of salt. I still don't know what that means, but I think it means don't take it so that was the second. Your first message was the second message ever. You could have said dipshit. You could have said afternoon fuckface. You could have slandered my name left and right. You could have gone to who we were talking about. Who was the greatest glore? You can go ahead and piss on their grave, and I'll welcome your question with open arms. I appreciate that. First off, please watch Fantastic Mr. Fox, Wes Anderson. It's a personal recommendation for you. You don't have to talk about it on show. Show question: do you have a comedic inspiration, or do you have a favorite form of comedy, i.e. SNL, Jim Carrey, stand-up guys, other podcasts? How do you personally like to consume comedy is the question. I know you said I don't have to talk about this is the reason why I haven't checked out Fantastic Mr. Fox. I'm very set in my ways, but once I make that leap, I'm very open to making a leap, but it's the introvert in me. I need a long time to build up. I'm horrible with recommendations, hence why I didn't check out a goddamn Wes Anderson film until a few weeks ago. I'm very turned off by things, but that turn on or just learning, I'm open to learning, but sometimes I want to talk about a bunch of other shit before I learn. The reason why I haven't watched Fantastic Mr. Fox, and I know that's up there as far as his films are concerned. Concerned. I feel like I said that like concerned. That sounded cool. It's the fucking stop motion. That fucking bugs me. I don't want to watch it seems silly, and for people to say, and I get it. What's neat about it is that was outside of his repertoire. I don't know. I might have butchered that. It was outside of his what he has done. And I'm sure the story's good, and I will watch it. I love George Clooney. This might be the crush I have. I just rather see George Clooney. But I was watching some behind the scenes it came up on like YouTube Shorts, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I will watch it. Also, when I watch I like to watch shows before movies because I can put a show on and kind of zone out, and it ends quicker than a movie does. I like to watch movies like early as I can in the day, so I don't feel like I wasted a night watching a movie. It's a me problem. I get it. I will check out Fantastic Mr. Fox. I know you said I didn't have to talk about it on the show, but I had to let you know where I was coming from. And then as far as comedic inspirations, because you had the ultimate question was, how do you personally like to consume comedy? Comedic inspiration, it varies. I always say Tosh is my goat. I don't know why. I like him as much as I did when I first found out who he was. People Pleaser was amazing, but I was sold at Happy Thoughts, his second comedy special, Completely Serious. Is that what the first one is? I think it's called Completely Serious. That one was interesting too. He's a lot more silly in that one. He's a lot more silly, and then you finally see like that Tosh voice or ego or persona, however you want to describe it, that in Happy Thoughts. So that was they're all amazing. It is fun to watch Completely Serious. Looking back, Tosh is like up there. Joe List is one of my favorite. I feel like he's super undervalued. He's been in the game for a long time. I think he's so underappreciated. I think he's very prolific. He's dropped a special a year for the last 3 years. Maybe one of them, it took 2 years. I don't know. So at least 3 specials in 4 years. That's fucking sick, dude. I don't know. He's amazing, and his comedic style and voice is just so like self-deprecation is always good, and I think Joe List has done it so amazingly. Like I can gush. I'm so serious. I'm not slipping in little jokes or doing making myself laugh. Joe List, amazing. Fahim Anwar, amazing. I think he's a little undervalued too. Of course, Shane Gillis, that's everybody's favorite comic right now, as it should be. He's amazing. What a story he has, and what a comedy voice he has too. He's so good at kind of being the asshole, quote unquote. He's pretty good at self-deprecation as well. And then of course Norm Macdonald, very I don't want to say out there. He just didn't give a shit, man. Norm Macdonald's, he might, I don't know. He's on the Mount I usually have an objective Mount Rushmore where I'm like, oh yeah, like Louis C.K., Dave Chappelle, those are probably two of the best joke writers ever. And then it gets kind of scary because it's like, do I just go ahead for Mount Rushmore is only 4 people? I already said 2. Do I go ahead and throw Pryor and Carlin on there? I don't know, but I don't know. There's just so many other. It's a tough. Like I have that Mount Rushmore, and then I have my own subjective Mount Rushmore where it's probably Tosh, Joe List, Norm Macdonald. Stephen Wright's up there for me. A hot take, I'll choose Stephen Wright over Mitch Hedberg. Both great as far as quote-unquote one-liners go. So I'll choose Stephen Wright. I think he's been doing the same set for like 35, 40 years. Like that, and I still laugh so hard at his one-liners, and I know them. And the same with Mitch Hedberg, but it would have been interesting to see Mitch go. Like if it was Mitch, if you don't know, Mitch Hedberg passed away very untimely. And it would have been interesting to see, or if he was still alive, where he'd be at, and like, would he have done killer special after killer special? And then it's like, yeah, no question out of my mind that he's better than Stephen Wright. Also, Stephen Wright, big influence on him. SNL, sketch comedy's great. I was never a big SNL guy. Like, as far as sketches, I really liked a lot of shit Tim and Eric did. I thought if you're going to do sketch comedy, it should be like that. Tim Robinson. I always say Tim Robinson's I Think You Should Leave is kind of like SNL meets Tim and Eric kind of vibes. It's weird. I think like traditional comedy works very well on stage performance-wise, but I am a sucker for like that off-kilter, absurd in sketch, because stand-up is a performance, and you can, and I will appreciate a very off-kilter set. Like it's weird. It's like that's like the business part of my brain of comedy is like where it's like, well, it's almost like you want to make everyone laugh. You don't, but I don't know. It's me personally, I would, if I did sketches, I would lean more off kilter, absurd, and try to do it well. And then I don't know. I'm just nitpicky. Jim Carrey, amazing. He's great. I'm not gonna go on a Jim Carrey tangent and project what I think on Jim Carrey. I know you're just naming him as an example. Stand-up guys that name some other podcasts. So there's a lot of comedians I enjoy as podcasters more than stand-ups. I just rewatched Andrew Santino's Cheeseburger the other night. You know, I really wish Santino, I took a page out of his book. I used to, I'm very silly and cynical, but I know to my core I'm going to react more times than not cynical than I will silly. And I took a page out of Santino's book, and he's a guy that blends that silliness and that dry, cynic attitude very well. But yeah, I wish he was a little more cynical on Cheeseburger, but it was, I had fun rewatching it. I think I do prefer him more on a podcast. Also, and I only watch 2 podcasts weekly. I watch Tuesdays with Stories with Mark Norman and Joe List, and I will say I think Mark Norman and Joe List chemistry is top tier. Sometimes they rip one right into the microphone. I don't really care for that. I don't really care for toilet humor, but their chemistry when they're not shitting into a microphone, it's amazing. I really think Joe List brings the best out of Mark Norman, and then I think Mark Norman does the same for Joe List. Joe List goes on other podcasts, and I'm like, damn, I wish he was acting like Tuesdays with Story Joe List. And then as of November, I watched Tosh's podcast. I can listen to him talk all day, and then I watch a bunch of other podcasts depending on guests. So yeah, I guess that's how I consume comedy. That was a really insightful question for question number 2, especially after like scolding you for misspelling the podcast name. I know I didn't scold you, but that's amazing. Thank you for the questions. It was fun. I went way too. I thought I was gonna be done with the show by now. You got the comedy nerd coming right out, and I'm fucking gushing all over stand-up comedy for you. So I appreciate that. Sorry I got a little serious, but that was a question. If there was a question to react a little seriously, I would do that one 10 out of 10 times. So thank you for texting back. Alrighty. Next message. Happy late St. Patty's Day. Don't be a Scrooge. All right. thank you. So I said I worked a bunch on St. Patty's Day, so it was hard not to be a Scrooge. Also, just in the nick of time for St. Patrick's Day, I had a lot of green discharge on my end. So it wasn't very pleasant, so it's hard not to be the old Scrooge McDuck over here. No, I'm kidding. That was a joke I did last year, which I started stand-up a year ago, last March. First open mic I could do after St. Patrick's Day. Said, hope everyone had a good St. Patrick's Day. A lot of green discharge on my end. So a little callback. Or just a repeat, I guess. No green discharge. Actually just got tested and negative through and through, which was that was fun too. I went to a very LGBTQT clinic, and they came in and they said, my name is blah blah. My pronouns are they, them, and was looking at what I presume is my chart. You always see your chart, but you don't know what the chart ever really looks like as the patient. And they said, oh, I'm looking at he, him pronouns. And I said, honestly, you can call me whatever you want. My stepdad used to call me a girl. I got through that. That was another Tuesday. So thank you for the St. Patrick's Day wish. I'll try not to be a Scrooge, even though I was in St. Patrick's Day in Chicago, sober, working doubles St. Patrick's Day weekend. So really, really hard not to be one. Next question from the caller. I love these questions. What popular comedian do you absolutely not enjoy listening to? I really do enjoy these comedy questions. Not that my opinion is the end-all, be-all. I'm very particular. I know I'm very particular, and I know it's a me problem. Hence why I won't watch Fantastic Mr. Fox anytime soon. But the answer is gonna be really PC and I apologize, but my reason is I try not to ever have a bad thing to say about comedians, because these comedians where everyone can have an opinion about them, they're doing a whole lot better than I am. So, some people say Brennan Schwab's name, doing a lot better. I think Tim Dillon had a very good answer. He's kind of a punchline in a lot of podcasts, and Tim Dillon very eloquently said he was a lot better 4 years in than I was. I remember being at an open mic a few months ago, and someone was just talking shit about Matt Rife, and it's like, well, he's not at an open mic talking shit about anybody, so he's got that going for him. There are types of comedy I don't really particularly enjoy. I don't really like music infused comedy. That turns me off a lot. I don't like political that much, or at least I don't like political if it's left-leaning or right-leaning. So yeah, I don't really I don't care for that. And there's comedians where I feel like I'm not as impressed with, or if I was looking forward to specials, I'm like, damn, that's all we got. I don't have anything bad to say. I remember trying to watch Pete Davidson's first Netflix special, and I'm no better. I have to edit out all my podcast editing. I have to edit out the ums and ahs and but so I have to edit that out. And so Pete Davis, he just kept saying a lot, and I think Netflix is a joke just posted how they posted their jokes in a picture, and it's like 4 pictures or 3, but it's one, and it's the joke. And there was in there in almost every single slide, I guess you can call it, but it was one picture. It was like a collage, and that kind of bugged me, but it doesn't, you don't notice it till you notice it. I don't want to turn anybody off from Pete Davidson. So there's that's a very PC answer, because again, they are living my dream. So I don't want to. I can, but I don't want to. I'm trying to think if there's truly one where I have no problem. Say 15 years from now, I could be the biggest comedian in the world and I won't regret saying this. I'm trying to think if there's anybody that just really just rubs me the wrong way. I can't think of any off the top of my head. That's the only way I'm going to start talking shit is if I get blackballed from Colorado Springs and Denver comedy, which we didn't start out on the best foot. And then if I get blackballed from Chicago's comedy scene, is if I have those two blackballing me constantly, I'm gonna rip and tear. And also, I feel like most comedy that I've been to, granted I've seen some amazing acts, it's usually very enjoyable at the show. So that's a plus. Open mic's a little different, but it's It's only 5 minutes, and there's things that I'm nitpicky about, like Shane Gillis. I'm really nervous if he's 100%, no doubt in my mind, he's an arena comic in the next few years, and that scares me. You start to fear as a fan, is he gonna get out of touch? I don't know. And but if there's anybody that I do want to see handle that, it's probably Shane Gillis. So I think anybody who has that same concern, I think we're in good hands. And then also, there's things that bug me, like Tom Segura posting a picture of a horse that he bought, and he said my horse won. It's like, geez, really? This fuels him, so I feel bad even just saying it. But he's just like, it's just like, geez, when comedians are buying their own horse and posting on Instagram and celebrating a win from their horse, maybe they're out of touch a little bit. But I still look forward to anything Tom Segura does. So it's like I guess in a way separating the art from the artist. And God damn it, do you see the ringer he had to go through? Like many comedians, you goddamn better be posting a horse and bragging about it. Get the fuck out of touch. You don't want to agree with these pores. But you don't want to let a poor person have an opinion of you. That's not fair. So there's just things I'm nitpicky about. Sorry, that was way too long. And without further ado, guys, we have our very first call-in voice message, which is going to be a pain in the ass to put in post. So please keep texting the number and try not to call it. All right, let's try to get this going.
How are you to tell me what I'm doing with my life? I've been trying to see your glory hole for a very long time now. You know, show me to me now. Show me to me now. Now, I call, I text. What do I got to do? I want to see your glory hole, okay? Give me your glory hole because, I like seeing glory holes, and there's nothing better than Josh's glory hole, okay? Love you. Goodbye.
So we got our second caller, our second repeat caller, back to the old glory hole. I called it out as Asian, but that sounded kind of, this is going to sound very xenophobic or ignorance. Take it as ignorance. It's kind of sounded Middle Eastern, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's Middle Eastern Asian. It sucks. I was on such a time crunch. I was actually going to act, or not do an act out, but I was actually going to get a prop, an old t-shirt or something, and get fucking pus and blood all over it, and it was going to be very small, and that was going to be the joke. But I was on a time crunch, and I was like, right now is my only chance to refilm this. So I'm sorry I couldn't act out on it or use a prop for it. But yeah, you don't want to see the glory hole. It's a lot of pus, a lot of blood, and it's not very private. So thank you for calling in. This is going to be a long, long war. Love it. I love that I'm the only glory hole you want to see. Thank you. So guys, that all could be you. That all could be you. That could be me connecting with you. If you just call or text, please text 719-507-2006, guys. It's fun connect. That's what I want the podcast to be about. I truly do. I can drop the here's the scenario at the drop of a dime, or I can stop on a dime. I can stop doing the here's the scenario I can just fucking stop that shit and just and do this for 30 minutes to an hour. Very fun. Now I fear, because I re-recorded and I just happen to get the most texts or calls, now I fear next week I'm not going to have anything, so I'm just going to, hopefully I'll get some clips out of these, and we'll kick and scream next week. So yeah, guys, I guess some plugs. I don't have any. I'm an amateur. No, but if I know if you're watching this, thank you. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you're listening to it, like and share. Also, the clips, guys, like and follow the social media, mainly Instagram and TikTok, and that helps a lot. That's probably that's going to be the biggest spreader of the podcast name is the clips. So like and follow, share if you want it. I'm tired of sharing and plugging it on my personal page. I want to get back to just posting regular pictures that I would, and not podcast clips. And it'd be nice, my Instagram's linked to the dating apps, and they don't see the podcast clips because they're videos, but it's embarrassing if they did. So please like, follow, subscribe, listen to the podcast, but definitely follow social media if you're already linked to the podcast, but not to the social media. And you don't even have to watch anymore because I'll clip it out for you. Please watch and listen. That helps too. I'm still looking for 18 to 22 demographic. It's still 0 in that category. Don't know what I gotta do to appeal, which I'm clipping and captioning. I don't know. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for the 2 repeat callers. Appreciate you. Thank you for texting me Happy St. Patrick's Day. And thank you for trying to pick my brain a little bit for asking what comedians I can't absolutely not enjoy. We'll see you again next week, guys. Thank you.
Then I think you should leave.